What is up, motherfuckers? It's that motherfucker back at it again here on the Carnival Spirits channel. And we're gonna be talking about the Sid Jones and Shaggy2dope situation and whether or not hip hop is a violent culture, at least compared to punk or rock or whatever. I'm gonna start off by saying I am not gonna sit here and act like hip hop is all unicorns and butterflies and rainbows, because we would both know that I would be lying. So I want to begin by stating that in essence, hip hop is not a violent culture. In essence, when it comes to DJing, when it comes to MCing, when it comes to fucking b-boying, when it comes to graffiti, it is a competitive culture, but it's not necessarily a violent culture. Nowadays, there is a violent element to it, but it's not the hip-hop culture, but more than the gang culture that got integrated into hip-hop. Now, it's not fucking rocket science to understand why gang culture ended up gravitating to hip-hop. They're both from the inner cities, both from poverty-stricken neighborhoods, talking about their everyday lives. So I would not be surprised if every single gangster in America listens to hip hop, because it has the most things to relate to. Okay? There is gangs in hip hop, but there is no hip hop gangs. Now, if we look into the punk community, there is punk gangs. Now, I don't know about you, but I've never heard of a hip hop gang. So if you've heard of one, go ahead and correct me on that. Not only were there punk gangs, but they were committing violent acts on people of the disco community just simply for having a different taste in music. Simply because they did not like that music. I don't know about you, but I've never heard anybody in the hip-hop community committing violent acts on somebody simply because of their taste in music. But I digress. Now, like I said, now that hip-hop, and in hip-hop's forefront, is a big gang culture. Because like I said, in hip hop's forefront is now gangster rap, drill rap, and trap, which has a lot of gangster elements, a lot of violent elements. But does that necessarily mean that hip hop is a violent culture? I don't think so. Because hip-hop is not what makes the culture violent. It's the gang element. Now, gangs have been around since the 1920s, way before hip-hop was even created. They might have not been as organized as they are today, but they indeed existed way back when. So, hip-hop and gangs are only associated because they come from the same place. They come from the same struggle. So, in essence, I don't believe that hip-hop is any more violent than punk rock or rock. You know what I'm saying? There's people that fuck up everywhere. If we're talking about venues and hip-hop shows and fucking rock shows, the worst thing that could happen in a hip hop show is that two different sets are in the same venue. Or a motherfucker is mean mugging another motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? But that's not part of the hip hop culture. You know what I'm saying? Rock, on the other hand, there is mosh pits almost in every show. Now, I'm not gonna claim to know that I know a lot about rock or punk or metal concerts because I haven't been to many. But it's safe for me to say that there is a lot of moshing going on, a lot of senseless violence going on at these shows. So, how are you gonna say that hip hop is any more violent than punk rock or rock in general? I don't know. But like I said, in essence, hip hop is not a violent culture. It has become a violent culture through the integration of gangs. But gangs is not a part of the hip hop culture. There's just gangsters that happen to rap. So with that said, it's that motherfucker. Peace.